let's just get more into Yoga for Philly.
Yeah.
So tell us, one, what you all represent right now, and then I'd love to get into the process of receiving that vision and bringing it to life.
Yeah, it's important to note that Yoga for Philly was born out of my own crisis, right? I was depressed, I was suicidal, I was miserable, I was in what St. John of the Cross and Mother Teresa will call the dark night of the soul. This period of darkness where you feel detached from your higher power. You have a vision of who you need to be and where you need to go, which often calls you to say goodbye to the old you, say goodbye to the ways in which you've been domesticated, say goodbye to the expectations of those who love you and poured into you and invested in you. And you're in this in-between period where you see where you need to be, you know where you come from, but you're not there yet. So you're in this holding pattern, you're in this tension, you're in this struggle.
Yeah.
And it's painful, right? To look in the eyes of those who've invested in you, who believed in you, and to say, I appreciate what you have done for me, but I have a different vision for myself.
Yeah.
That is painful. That is hard. And then when you're alone, you think to yourself, am I crazy? Like, is there something wrong with me?
Right.
Why can't I just follow the path that was paved for me? Why can't I just be normal?
Right.
And so when I was in that space, I was looking for solutions. I was looking for ways to help me cope with that crisis, with that tension. And so I was listening to one of Russell Simmons' interviews as he was launching his then new book, The Happy Vegan. And if you know anything about Russell is big on practicing yoga and meditation, and being vegan. So I just decided to, forgive me, I'm taking a long way around to answer your question. So he's big on practicing yoga and meditation. So I decided to try something new. So I went on YouTube on January the 1st, 2015, and I started the 30 days of yoga with Adrian. And listen, I fell in love with yoga. Shout outs to Adrian. I've never met her before. It was what her program on YouTube is amazing. And I love the practice of yoga so much to where living in Dallas, Texas at the time, I joined a studio called St. Yoga and Wellness Center, which no longer exists, heartbreaking. But nonetheless, my time there deepened my practice of yoga and meditation. I fell in love with the staff. I fell in love with the students. I love that place so much to where oftentimes I would stay for a second class. I was there 7 days a week. I attended as many classes as I could because I loved that space and I knew what it was doing for me in my crisis. But I couldn't help but to realize one day that oftentimes I was the only black male in that space. And knowing the trauma that black people or people of color live with and they face on a daily basis, I knew that this space needed to be more accessible to people of color. So fast forward to April the 23rd, 2019, I established Yoga for Philly, 501c3. That idea of making yoga and meditation and other mindfulness tools and applications accessible to people of color grew and expanded to now making yoga and meditation accessible to everyone. Right? So now we're working to not only provide mindfulness tools to people of color, but also to students in schools, as well as for our school administrators, offering chair yoga to our precious seniors. And here in Philadelphia, there's a neighborhood called Kensington, a neighborhood that has largely been impacted by poverty, drug abuse, and sex trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
So we offer recovery-based, trauma-informed yoga and other mindfulness tools in that neighborhood, inviting whoever shows up
Yes.
to have access to these tools.